And welcome to part 2 of Let's Play Battlefield 1942 Operation Market Garden. And once again, we've inflicted ticket bleed on the German side. They're way behind in tickets now. They really just haven't managed to get a proper foothold on this side of the river. I would say the main strategy that the Axis should employ on this map is to try to make a play for the church and get a good grip on the church. Use some infantry to defend from within the church building itself and make use of those tanks while denying the Allies the use of those tanks. Yeah, since we've still got the church in there, you've got 2 empty tanks. So, you know, the Axis really just haven't been able to make much headway. And it's so easy for a good Allied defense to cover both of these bridges. Now, it looks like we're not really making that much of an effort to do defense. We're doing enough of it at the main bridge, probably with landmines and dynamite. But it's also difficult for the Axis to go after that stone bridge simply because it's further away from where their tanks are. People get lazy, and it's so easy for Allied infantry to just hide somewhere within the capture radius to keep it neutral. Now, just as I mentioned how the Axis should make a play for the church, we've got an example of an Axis who snuck in there, presumably by taking a jeep in there really quick, which is a very good strategy. And I think he's gone inside the church building itself. If that's true, then my tank is not going to be able to stop him and capture this control point. Some Allied infantry would have to go into the building, probably go up the stairs, find out where he is, and try to kill him. If he's an engineer, he could use dynamite to detonate it whenever the Allies finally find him. So what I could do is stay here, keep the flag neutral, and I'm not going to do that though because I'm on the Allied side. We really need to use these tanks. If I were on the Axis side, it would be different. For the Axis side, it's very important to keep that flag neutral, if only to deny the Allies the use of those 2 tanks, because the tanks can't spawn in there while the flag's neutral. Yeah, you can see that there's a big row of landmines that someone set up over here to prevent these Axis tanks from going on the main bridge. It's very useful. I like guarding the main bridge with a tank from this position. It's difficult for the Axis to aim their cannons downward, and sometimes they can't even see you when you're over here. So it's a very good strategy to employ. And you can just lob a tank shell, move down while it reloads, and then go back up. But since the Germans have managed to capture this other central flag here, out from behind us, I'm going to do some work over here. Church flag is still neutral. They're still messing around over there. So it's not bad for the Germans. I mean, if you're the Germans and you can keep the church flag neutral, that's a victory in and of itself. But if you're the Allies, preventing the church from going German isn't quite as big of a deal, since those tanks won't respawn in until the Allied tanks have been destroyed. Engineers still doing a pretty good job, and it looks like our aircraft are doing a pretty good job bombing those tanks as they try to get across the bridge. I think I got hit by one of our own airplane's bombs there. But no problem. Looks like the Americans have recaptured the church. notice my spawn timer is very high. It's normally 5 seconds maximum, and there it was 25 seconds. That's because I got at least one team kill while I was alive. And you see different people playing while you're waiting to respawn. This building over here that I just walked past is a favorite spot for people keeping the flag neutral. You can also do it from underneath the big bridge here. But within that building, you can go up the stairs, and there's a couple different floors you can hide from. And look out the windows, get a good attack position. Yeah, see, there you go. There's a guy hiding in there. And another guy. And there seems to be a lot of fighting inside the chat here. If you put the YouTube video on high quality and maximize the window, you can read that. There's a guy saying that when he graduates from Princeton, he'll be rolling in millions. You know, some games people talk about whether or not it has a good community. I would say that Battlefield 1942 has no community. It's a game that you pick up and play really quickly, especially back in the days when there were a lot of different servers. You just randomly pick a server, one with a good connection, you go in there. People don't do too much chatting when they do. Usually it's not something productive. A lot of servers have warnings posted, don't be racist, don't cuss, etc., etc. And so as you pick up and play the game, and then when you're done, you just kind of leave the game really quick. It's a disposable game, and it's therefore a disposable community, especially back when there were a lot of servers. Every time you log onto the servers, it'd be a different group of people. So there's not a whole lot you can get from the chat, usually. Sometimes people will get in there and try to discuss tactics, because there's an option where you can talk to just people on your team, but typing is very cumbersome when you're trying to play this game. The Germans, really, they've just got no shot at this whatsoever. There's another guy trying to hide in there. Like I said, this is a very popular place for people to hide and try to keep the flag neutral. The Germans just weren't able to prevent ticket bleed. We needed 3 out of 4 to do ticket bleed, and we were able to do that a lot of the time. And they just couldn't make up that deficit. I would say overall the Germans did a pretty good job continually bringing up the tanks from their main base. The only reason they did that, though, was because they only had their main base to spawn from a lot of the time. It didn't seem like our airplanes were overpowering. I didn't see our main bomber plane going around too much. But the Axis tanks didn't get a chance to really group up and take us down, and they just couldn't take the church, which seemed to be the decisive factor in this round. And it looks like that'll do it for this episode of Let's Play Battlefield 1942, Operation Market Garden. See you on the next episode.